Well, hello, leading ladies. Welcome to week 10 of the Leading Ladies International 100-day program. Now, I hope you're enjoying the program so far. Only 4 weeks left. Yep, that's right, just 4 weeks left. So, lots and lots of content I know that I've been pushing your way, giving you. And as I've said before, it's like a smorgasbord. You eat what is relevant to you, what's relevant to the timing of where you're at in your business, and what you're hoping to achieve through being a participant in this program. Now, today I wanted to talk to you briefly, I guess just really about sharing my own story in the hope that that is not so much inspirational but instructional, in that it might give you a perspective about how things may be in a small business. And this week we're all about systematizing and delegating. Now, a lot of us in small business, we may have come from corporate world where we've had staff and teams around us, and then we launch into our own business and we find ourselves all alone. And that's specifically what I want to talk to you about today, about what are the systems, what are the processes, and who are the people that you need in order to support your growth and development. And really, I just wanted to, in this video, share a little bit of my own story, because then when you get to the actual content, you'll find that there are some activities and some questions and some things for you to work on when you get there. But really, I wanted to share that 9 months into my own business here at Leading Value and Leading Ladies, I had something of an epiphany, one of those aha moments where it kind of really transported my business. It transformed my thinking. It made me go, there's something here that I need to do in order to change, in order to grow, in order to develop my business. And also, really, in order to regain my sanity. Because what I was doing is very typical of most small business owners, is that I was going for this incremental improvement, and my business was growing and expanding to a degree where my two hands could no longer handle it. So it actually came about when I got a call from my mother. My dear mum called me, and she minded my niece every week, and they were going to the park for a play. And it was the park that my niece, lovely Josie, called the big park. So it was while they still lived here in Australia, and they were going over to the big park to have a play and some morning tea. And my mum rang me out of the blue and said, I thought you might like to come, it's such a beautiful day. And I had to say, I'm sorry, no. I'm really busy this week. I've got workshops I'm running and I'm preparing for. I've got some reports due, la 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 la. You know how the story goes. So in reality, I realized I was saying no a lot. And whilst I was very clear on what are my boundaries and, when's a work day for me, and the fact that I'm not here to play and just go out for coffees all day, but in reality, it was something that was really important to me and something I would have liked to have made time for. Now, many of you already know that my niece and my brother and his wife have since moved to live in Boston in the US. So no longer is it possible for me to perhaps nip down the park and have a play with Josie, because she is, a 14-hour flight away. So some of those opportunities I have missed. And at that point in my business, I had already hired a bookkeeper. So I'd already bought myself some space and sanity there. And that had come about very, very much necessarily, because bookkeeping is not my strength. Now, when I started my business, been and done an MYOB course, which took something like 9 or 10 weeks of, once a week night classes at an adult education school. And I'd learned the ins and outs of MYOB, which I hated. So I could get my books to work. I learned how to add in an invoice. I learned how to put my expenses in and how to raise a PO and all those sorts of things. It drove me nuts. And I used to spend nearly every Sunday doing my paperwork and my books and getting all my receipts and invoices out. And really, Heidi, when she was doing her bookwork, was not a very nice lady to be around. I would either be grumpy or I'd be teary because my books wouldn't balance and the software wouldn't work, and it just is not my love job. And I can do it, and I could sit with the instructions and I could make it work, but did I want to? Hell no. Hell no. It drove me nuts, and it's just not my flow. So what I decided to do was find myself a bookkeeper, and I was very fortunate enough to have a fellow coach who's actually from the Central Coast tell me about his wonderful bookkeeper in Sydney, in Kellyville. And I rang her that very day. And bless her, I don't know what I'd do without Kirsty, because she manages my book so well. She does my quarterly BAS. She enters all my receipts. I just bundle everything up, and at the end of the month, I post it off to her, and it's taken care of. So I'd gotten to the point where I had that. So I had some sanity going around my bookwork. But despite outsourcing this, the daily grind of business had really started to take a hold on me. Now, I was quite planned and knew I was going into business for several years before I did. So I was fortunate to have read lots of ebooks, studied lots of, how to run your business well. I'd also had a coach who was really good at systematizing things. So when I started in my business, I had some procedures, I had some systems, some ways of how I looked after a client. I had all my empty folders set up ready for clients with the process that I saw taking them through, the tools that I might need, so they were ready on hand. So unlike a lot of small businesses, I was in a pretty good place from the perspective of already having my ducks lined up. But what I didn't anticipate was the busier I got. Even though I had a good system to back me up, I was just overwhelmed. I couldn't handle returning all the calls in time, the 200 and 300 emails a day, the amount of back end work and follow up after a client. And then as I started to develop programs and products, the amount of shipping and customer service and all of the things that go into making your business tick and work. So I contemplated a situation after I'd had to say no to my mum this day, and it wasn't the first no to friends, family, others in my life who were significant. I contemplated the situation and I realized, what is one of my unique strengths? What had been a unique strength of mine when I'd been in the corporate world? And that was team building, was growing a team, was inspiring people with a vision, was getting them going on something really important and valuable, and having this big vision and helping chunk down the tasks and getting them moving towards that. So I realized that my leadership skills were really not being utilized in my business. I was leading myself, and I wasn't too good at just leading myself. I actually flourish when I have a team, when I have other people to bounce ideas around me, when I have people supporting me in making this vision a reality. So I hatched an idea, and that was the idea of how could I attract partners? How could I attract the right people to build my business bigger, to make my big ideas and my mission, which, I really held true to my heart. How do I make that become a reality? In not just one business, but all three of my businesses. So leading value, leading ladies, and then my property business. So what I needed to do was really step away from some things and help get some support for some other activities I was doing. And one of those was I ran the Professional Communicators Network. Now, I've been running this network since 2003, and it's very close to my heart. And it's really valuable for people in the industry who are either just starting out or who are looking for advice and support and hearing case studies and getting other learning from what's going on in marketing, PR, journalism, that kind of industry. So I started by finding anyone who was willing to support me in making that run better. And I was able to offload the financials, some of the membership management, and those sorts of things. So all I really took care of and held on to was the actual events and just some marketing. So that really freed up a bit of my time. It was all voluntary, and all the assistance I got was voluntary, which was brilliant. It allowed other people to feel as though they were giving back to the industry and to really get involved and build their networks as well. So that was my first little thing, but it was only a very small part of my time. So then I used this to look at how could I leverage using other people's time to assist me in the main guts of my businesses, the real day to day. One of the things that had been raised with me and is quite common in the coaching industry is the use of virtual assistants. Now, I was really hesitant. I'd built this office space that you can see around me for myself, and primarily I had been so used to having an open door policy in a busy corporate job where I would have 10, 20, 50 staff wanting to, can I just see you for a minute? Can I just speak to you for a minute? And so when I created this space, what I really wanted was some quiet time, some ability to write my books, to develop programs, and to have coaching clients in a sacred space that wasn't that frenetic, crazy energy. So I was really quite concerned about bringing an assistant or people into my office space, and recreating that corporate world. I was also concerned about hiring a virtual assistant because of the money. And let's face it, when we're starting out in small business, we're watching our pennies and pounds. And so I was really thinking about, how can I afford to put someone on my books permanently? So what I just started with was two people, my existing bookkeeper, and I started with Claire, my first virtual assistant. And she'd been recommended to me by a measurement coach from Queensland who I really was well regarded, and I appreciated her advice and her opinion. And so when I started with Claire, who was an experienced VA, and God bless her, she was very gentle with me, I actually paid for 10 hours up front. I said, Claire, I kind of want to know where my cash flow is. I'm a little bit scared about all of this. Can I pay you for 10 hours up front? And you just give me a report on when I'm spending that money and how much I've got left. Which of course she agreed, God bless her. And initially, I think it took me, quite a few months to actually use that 10 hours, because I was scratching my head and I still wasn't sure, what's this VA thing and how can I use her? And she's in Queensland, I'm in New South Wales, so we're polar miles apart. And thankfully, she would walk me through the process. She would often say, I can help you with this. We actually did an activity where I drew a line down a piece of paper and all the tasks and activities that were zapping my time and energy. And then Claire talked to me about which ones she could move across into the column that she was going to look after. Oh, it was like light bulb moment. And gradually over the years, I've handed more and more and more things to Claire. So she's become my backstop. She's become my customer service woman. As you know, she manages in Leading Ladies and all of the communication and correspondence you have. She uploads things on my website. She clears out all sorts of things, and just generally looks after that day-to-day minutiae that's so valuable and so important to making sure you have good customer service, that people are taken care of in the way that you want to, but you don't necessarily have the hours yourself to do. So today my business is a little different. I now have a webmaster, I have a program coordinator for Leading Ladies, I have my virtual assistant, I have a graphic designer, I have a marketing and media copywriter that does social media posts for me monthly, I have my bookkeeper, I have my accountant. And the last one that I'm still working on, because the one I had is retired and I'm looking for a new one, is a housekeeper. And so I've been cleaning house again for the past 3 or 4 months, and I know that it's time to find a new one, because that's a bit like bookkeeping for me. Not my love job, something I do, but not something I want to do forever. So that's something I'm looking into again at the moment. Also in my property business, I have a builder, an electrician, I have a lawn keeper that, does the lawns and those sorts of things. All of this is really valuable to build yourself this support team, this buffer of support. And it doesn't have to happen overnight, and it doesn't have to be permanent staff. You don't have to be paying excessive wages, holiday pays, all of those sorts of things, because there's so many independent operators, solopreneurs out there who are willing and able to support you in what you're wanting to create. And there's nothing better than supporting other women who are perhaps stay-at-home mums running their small business from home. There's nothing better than feeling as though you're giving someone business, you're helping them grow and develop. So that's it for me for the video this week. It's a little more personal than normal, but I hope you find it backs up some of the systems and processes discussion that you'll find is in this week's curriculum. So that's it for this week, Leading Ladies. I hope you enjoy looking at your systems and processes, and who are you delegating to? Who else are you supporting with your vision? Expand and develop and step into what you need to become. You can do it one step at a time. And I'm here with you all along the way for the next 4 weeks of the 100-day program. This is Heidi Alexandra Pollard signing off for Leading Ladies International. Bye for now.